Srilekha, are
shall I
you
start?
ready? Okay, okay, right.
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Okay.
Everyone, please mute, except those who are speaking, please mute
Yes,
your
sir.
mics.
Okay.
Okay, sir. I'll start now.
Yes.
I request everyone to kindly put your mobiles in silent and mute your mics to avoid any disturbance during the webinar. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Srilekha, would like to greet every one of you on this lovely Saturday afternoon. Respected guest of honor, my dear teachers and students, welcome to the webinar on the role of youth in the abolition of drug addiction, presented by the team NSS Kayas. We are all aware that drugs take you to hell disguised as heaven. This line defines the meaning of drugs very clearly in a single line. So, before we get into the webinar, let us all feel the presence of the Almighty God as we offer Him a song of praise. I would like to welcome Kavana from BBA final year for the prayer and to invoke the blessings of the Almighty God.
प्रभु गणपते प्रभु गणपते परिपालय मां सततं त्वं प्रभु गणपते प्रभु गणपते परिपालय मां सततं त्वं प्रभु गणपते 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 भक्तवनित निज वैभव मोदित भव्यद गिरीश विनीता भक्तवनित निज वैभव मोदित भव्यद गिरीश विनीता दन्तकान्त विखण्डित दानव दान्त शान्त्यनुभावा दन्तकान्त विखण्डित दानव दान्त शान्त्यनुभावा प्रभु गणपते प्रभु गणपते परिपालय मां सततं त्वं प्रभु गणपते 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 Thank you.
Wow, Kavana, what a lovely singing it was. Thank you, Kavana. We all feel blessed indeed. To begin this program, we are pleased to have Miss Sharanya, the Assistant Professor of Christ Academy Institute for Advanced Studies, to welcome the gathering. Over to you, Miss Sharanya.
Thank you. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I take this opportunity to welcome the gathering. First of all, I extend my warm welcome to Reverend Father Anthony, Director of Christ Academy Institute for Advanced Studies, who is the backbone of the institution. We welcome you, sir, in absentia. I'm indeed honored to welcome our chief guest for the day, Mr. Ravi D. Chandranawar, IPS. Sir is a Superintendent of Police, Government of India. Sir has completed MA in Public Administration and PG Diploma in Mass Communication, Journalism as well as Business Law, and has been serving since 2009. Sir has served as ASP and SP in various districts such as Assam, Davangere, Shivamogga, Belgavi, etc. during the period of 2009 to 2017. Has also served as DCP of West Division in the year 2018. Sir is currently working in Bengaluru district. On behalf of Christ Academy, we extend a warm welcome, sir. I now take this opportunity to welcome and introduce the guest of honor, Dr. Satish Gowda N. Sir has an LLM with first class in constitutional law and obtained PhD in the area of constitutional law. Secured fifth rank in BAL and distinction with third rank in LLB. He has published more than 25 articles in different law journals and a few articles in leading newspapers. Sir has been the coordinator of various national and international seminars and presented various research papers at state level, national level, and international seminars, conferences, and workshops. He has been the coordinator of refreshing course in human rights organized by University Law College in association with HRDC BUP. He actively served as NSS officer in organizing NSS programs and conducted camps in various rural areas. He is a member of Faculty of Law, Board of Studies, and Board of Examination in Bangalore University, Mysore University, Kuvempu, Kannur University, etc., and also a visiting faculty in HRDC, Calicut University. Sir has received Young Scientist Social Science Award for the best paper presentation in First International Congress on Science and Technology held at Regent International College, Bangkok, Thailand. Sir has been invited to talk in Netherlands, Thailand, USA, Bangladesh, etc. on various topics such as law and right to public health in India and US, right to health as a fundamental human right in India, role of higher court in protect the human rights of women in India, etc. It gives me a great pleasure, sir, in welcoming you. I also extend a warm welcome to Vinay KM, IQAC Coordinator, Christ Academy Institute for Advanced Studies, who is the man behind all the perfections in terms of documentation and quality assurance. We welcome you, sir. I also extend a hearty welcome to all the faculties and students of NSS to the webinar. I welcome you all. Everyone, as per the latest update, kindly note that due to some emergency, our chief guest, Mr. Ravi D. Chandan, our IPS, has to leave now and would be rejoining the webinar in some time to deliver the speech. Thank you. Over to you, Srilekha.
Thank you, Ms. Shavanya. We feel very informed about many things. Thank you very much. According to the International Youth Foundation, young people are not problems to be solved, but problem solvers themselves. The consumption of certain drugs is illegal. They also may cause ruin in relationships and life. But the short span of fun and excitement is making the youngsters do so. It is a very sorrowful thing to know that youngsters between 18 to 29 years of age, who are called the future of the nation, are almost addicted. These days, drug abuse is becoming an increasing trend and playing a larger role in youth culture because they have become very increasingly varied and accessible. Today, there is a clear need for effective drug prevention programs directed towards youth. To know more about the abolition of drug abuse, we are all geared up for our webinar today. Now let me first recognize and acknowledge our guest speaker for today, Dr. Satish Gowda, the NSS Coordinator and Faculty of Law, Bangalore University. The platform is yours, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Srilekha. Good afternoon to one and all. Today's chief guest, Ravi D. Chandan, Superintendent of Police, Bangalore Rural District, and today's guest of honor, Reverend Father Anthony, Director, Christ Academic Institute for Advanced Studies, and NSS Program Officer, Dr. Raju, and all the faculty members and student volunteers and other participants. In fact, I'm very happy that Christ Academy Institute for Advanced Studies, in association with the Bangalore University National Service Scheme, organizing a very timely and needful event, especially for the youth, with respect to role of youth in abolition of drug addiction. In fact, I was eagerly waiting to hear the lecture taught by Ravi D. Chennanavar. Due to some valid reason, I think he may join after some time. And Dr. Raju, he has requested me to speak on today's topic, the role of youth in abolition of drug addiction. As a law faculty, I heard some of the law students are also participating in this event. It is immaterial that we have to tell all these things to law students or any other type of students. These type of lecture are very much required to all the students, especially students who are studying in undergraduation and post-graduation, and even research scholars. There will be no issue up to the 10+2. This will be an issue from undergraduation to postdoctoral. Between undergraduation to postdoctoral, you find 4 types of discipline. Number 1, undergraduation. Number 2, post-graduation. Number 3, doctorate. Number 4, PDF, postdoctoral fellowship. During this period, if a student really concentrate on their studies without getting to any attraction, then it will be a great help. It is not only the role of youth, but also the role of institution matters. Not only role of institution, the role of teacher in motivating students in such a way to inculcate some of the important information about the drugs, usage of drugs. Youth cannot abolish the drug addiction and all. You can try your level best to provide information about the consequences with respect to use of drug or drug addiction. If you really make sense, in the sense, if you really inculcate all these, disseminate all this information to youth, then there will be a scope for minimizing these type of activities, illegal activities. I don't know, should I speak as a NSS program coordinator or law faculty, but I will try my level best to address you all, discussing both legal as well as moral aspects of this menace. Of course, law alone cannot regulate these type of menace, what you call illegal activities. In addition to that, morality matters. In fact, recently, National Service Scheme Bangalore City organized 2 important events on same issue, that is on drug addiction. I have invited professor from JNU, Mr. Puneet, Dr. Puneet, Center for Law and Governance, who spoke about the law relating to drugs, and also we invited medical doctor Sri Anjanappa, who spoke about the consequence of using this drugs on health. Punishment and bringing so many stringent provisions would never deter the crime. Ultimately, we have to tell youth about the usage of drug, how it affects our health. Consequences include like health, psychiatric problems, physical disorder, social accidents, absenteeism, family disintegration, and very unfortunate to say, even prostitution. See, this is the crime, this is a mother of many crimes. This actually allows and provoke the drug addict, person who addicts for drug, to commit multiple type of crime. It may be prostitution, it may be theft, it may be murder, it may be, see today, especially during the lockdown, youths have lost their jobs. In fact, today when I was reading newspaper, I read in today's newspaper, it is appeared that because of unemployment problem, youths are indulging in selling, buying, or doing some illicit trafficking of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. See, in this regard, we have so many legislations, we have so many international conventions, we have so many rules, we have so many judicial directions, we have so many authorities constituted in the different legislation. Nevertheless, the crime still continues in the society. Why? So here, my sincere appeal to the organizer, when we will have this type of program, we have to invite 3-4 persons from different disciplines. Number one, first person required for this is psychiatrist. Doctor who are working in demands could be invited. Then police officers, then law professors or advocates or retired judge, and very importantly, medical doctor. Because when all will say something in different perspectives, especially to the students, they will understand, they will realize. Once if they realize, maximum crimes can be minimized. Realization, information, and awareness matter to ensure good health and to minimize the crimes, different types of crime. It's like organized crime. Things would have been different if Ravi Chandan never would have been spoken, you all. I, as a law faculty and NSS coordinator, keep on telling which is the best institution to regulate and prevent and control all these type of menace is family, kutumba. Kutumba is the best institution. If kutumba, the members of family decided, if they decide how my son or daughter should be, then maximum type of crime can be minimized. It's a question of morality. I tell you, my dear students, our parents, they have been working day and night to protect the interest of us. Once if you become parent, you will come to know the responsibility of parents. If you now you are not in you are in nascent stage, in the sense when you step into the shoes of parent responsibility, then if your children commit this kind of crime, you feel very unfortunate. Similar way, your parents, it hurts a lot. Not only in different way, it will be a great loss for everyone. Why? Because see, your studies will discontinue, number one. Number two, it affects health badly. Number three, your future will be very, in the sense, you spoil your entire career in future. Then now you are okay. Now your parents are also okay. When they become senior citizen, who has to look after? Very unfortunate. Today, senior citizens are nurturing their children, even adolescents, even youths, even the sons, more of course, they are also at the age of 40, 50. When we had an interview with a cardiologist, C.N. Manjunath sir, he was telling very unfortunate thing is, senior citizens are taking their son for heart check and all, instead vice versa. Very unfortunate. So, you no need to be an asset to your parents. At least if you are if you do not become obligation or responsible for them, that will be a great relief for the parents, I tell you. And one must understand, when they are about to commit any type of crime, even using, selling, consuming, and manufacturing, and growing, and cultivating, what type of, there are different kinds of drugs defined where under NDPS Act. We have a law called Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act. See, law alone cannot regulate. Ultimately, information sensitization, awareness matters a lot. Drug abuse has become a universal and growing issue of concern to humanity. See, we are human beings. It is our bounden duty to uphold what? Ensure what? Nurture what? See, we youths are the future of this country. Very unfortunate, it is not only a drugs, even usage of mobile and the type of food you are having, consuming, very unfortunate. I think 2030 will be the year of so many diseases. The best, 2020 is the year of Corona year. It is a year of Corona, but 2030 will become year of so many diseases. My sincere appeal to everyone. See, remember the difficulties of your parents when you are about to commit mistake. Remember the sanctity, values, and image of family when you are about to commit this type of crimes. Of course, unknowingly, unintentionally, if you do something which is against to the morality or whatever it may be, again it will be a great problem. See, unintentionally, if you use something, it's fine, but repeating it, it is really a curse. And you are not only commit betrayal against the trust of your own parents, but also against the integrity of nation. Nation expects your service. Nation depends upon youth service. Nation depends upon your active participation in the democratic setup. But if you indulge with all these activities, then the very object is going to be defeated in your life. So, as an NSS coordinator, I always suggest you cultivate the best practice to ensure good health. If you are strong enough, then you can lead your life. You can look after your parents, you can be a person, you can be a cause for bringing progress and prosperity in the country. So my sincere appeal, please inculcate everyone. Awareness matters. Health matters. See, what is happening in and around the world? In and around, death penalty can be imposed for this. Very unfortunate when there is a provision under Section 30A of the NDPS Act 1985 where it can, death penalty can be imposed. See, this is very serious crime. Heinous crime. So now I come to the point regarding law-related aspects. We have maximum laws. There are so many regulations, so many authorities, so many institutions to regulate, controlling the abuse of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance, and identifying, treating, rehabilitating, and combating illicit traffic in narcotic drugs, preventing drug abuse. There are many, many laws you have. I always say India is the best country in manufacturing beautiful legislation. But when it comes to the matter of implementation, big zero. I'm not blaming government. We have to blame ourselves. Why? Because though we are in a democratic setup, still we people are not participating in the democratic process. We are not coming forward to question the unreasonable actions. In this regard, before enacting this legislation, there were 3 important international conventions. Number 1, International Convention on Narcotic Drugs, 1961. International Convention on Psychotropic Substance, 1971. And one more, International Convention on Illicit Trafficking Drugs Prevention, 1980. These 3 conventions were prepared in international level. Before this legislation, this NDPS Act, we in fact were having 3 important legislations. Number 1, Opium Act 1857 and Opium Act 1878 and Dangerous Drugs Act 1913. But in this act was passed and amended, especially law relating to narcotic drugs, to make stringent provisions for the control and regulation of operations relating to narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. And especially this law was passed in order to give an effect to the international treaty agreement point. See, if you come to constitution, I have forgotten to tell you 3 important things need to be addressed in this wonderful workshop, that is on abolition of drugs addiction. Number 1, international convention. Number 2, constitution. Number 3, legislations. What are the difference between these 3? See, India is also a party to these conventions and it has a bounden duty to come out with specific legislation to prevent, regulate this narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. Sorry. So, in addition to that, as I told you, there were 3 legislations which were not adequate to regulate or control or prevent this type of menace. What happened? By virtue of Article 47 of the Indian Constitution, And by virtue of Article 253 says Parliament has power to enact law in order to implement international treaty, agreement, covenant, use, whatever it may be. At the same time, Article 47, which is a part and parcel of direct principle of state policy, which speaks, it imposes positive obligation upon the duty, upon the state. That is, it is the duty of state to protect the public health of an individual and take measure to prevent liquor and drugs. Keeping Article 47 and 253, Parliament in the year of 1985, they enacted a law called Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act. This act consists 83 sections divided into 8 chapters, and there will be one schedule which speaks about the list of substances, narcotic drugs, that central government notify from time to time by way of amendment. They have a power to make rules and regulations where from time to time they keep on adding, they keep on amending the provision, telling that by notification what will be an offense. If you just keep some quantity of different types of drugs, how it is punishable and all, it says. Among all section 83, one section, very important section in this workshop, it is pertinent to mention that section 7 capital A, clause 2 of clause E, section 7 capital A, clause 2, clause E says about it is a duty of central government to take measure to educate the public through different mode. Of course, this workshop today, what we are organizing, without taking single grants or entry from government, this institution is very much committed to organize this type of program to inculcate and disseminate this information to youths. So I don't tell you what is there in the legislation and other things, but I will try my level best, because sometimes, see, ignorance of fact may be excused, but ignorance of law shall not be excused. In the sense, keeping some quantity of narcotropic substance and narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance, you cannot simply say it is an offense. Oh, keeping this, I was not doing, it is an offense. No. You cannot escape from the criminal responsibility. Being a citizen of this great country, it is your bounden duty to know the law of the land. That is where governments have failed to disseminate and bring awareness of all this important legislation to the youth. Because sometimes even penal provision helps a lot to prevent the crime, but I don't believe in that. Ultimately, introspect yourself will definitely, as I told you, once if you remember the family, parents, you never commit these type of crimes. Nevertheless, it is the duty of the state, being a democratic state, they have to come forward to enact specific legislation to regulate all these things. And when it comes to the matter of drug abuse, the illicit drugs have multiple consequences to health, society, and economy. These consequences includes, as I told you, include health consequence, morality, psychiatric and physical disorders, social, accidents, sometimes taking drugs, students drive car, the students ride bike, and they not only lose their life, they also will be responsible to take others' life who are innocent public. And family disintegration, prostitution, organized crime and economic and finance spent on developing service drain on national resources, loss of productivity. These are all the main consequences by using this narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. The issue is complex and multifaceted, requiring both health measures and effort to control trafficking, smuggling, and manufacture of illicit drugs. For this, see, this act can be discussed in 6 important headings. Number 1, you must know what are the narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. And there is a definition clause. And what are the authorities we have? What type of punishment? Which code deals? Do we have a special code to deal all this, this type of crime? And very importantly, what are the procedure, how it has to be, investigation has to be carried out by the police officer. If Ravichandran never was there, he would have told you effectively how investigation can be done, especially in the case of drugs and all. Then what are all authorities? There are different EDs there, and excise inspectors are there, police officers are there. There are different income tax department. There are so many departments comes under this act where all have power to, and it's I tell you, it's a cognizance and non-bailable offense. Cognizance offense in the sense police officer can arrest without warrant, and there are different types of punishment for different types of crimes. Of course, I'll tell you, that will be very interesting part. Being a student of Christ Academy, you must understand all these important provisions, and you please try to conduct these. Again, you conduct some quiz competition and some kids, and through drama, through kids, and please try your level best through social media and all. You disseminate the health consequences and law and all, how it punishes, how this law punishes, especially people who use drug or sale, transport, manufacture, or whatever the kind. Okay. So keeping that in mind, Act mainly speaks about the definition clause, authorities constituted under different legislation, and punishment clause, and again how investigation will be done by the police officers, and what are the procedures they have to follow, then which court will try, what kind of offense it is, and what are the officers in charge will look into this issue and all. The act will speak. Of course, once if we come to know the act, because sometimes keeping some quantity of type of drugs and narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance, you may not be knowing innocently. And one more thing I tell you, there is a famous maxim in IPC, in the criminal law, whichever, if at all, if state wants to prosecute an individual, there must be actus rea and mens rea. What do you mean by actus rea? Physical act and intention to do this. These two constitute very important to prosecute an individual. There is a famous maxim under Indian Penal Code, that is actus non facit reum nisi mensit rea. What does it mean? Actus non facit reum nisi mensit rea means, it's a Latin word. It says act itself does not constitute a crime unless with guilty mind. That means actus rea and mens rea. For example, when you want to commit any crime, you should have an intention first, then plan, preparation, and execution, omission, commission. All these things constitute that will be the main important stages in criminal cases and all. But in this case, in NDPS, your mens rea doesn't come into the picture. For example, I tell you, usually when we travel by air, we can take baggage up to the quantity of 15 kilo and 25 kilo, depends upon the airways. Sometimes if it crosses more than, if it crosses more than 25 kilo or 15 kilo, then you have to pay per kilo 500, 300, 400 rupees, depends upon the airways. They charge you exorbitantly. Sometimes your another passenger, he may request, if you hold just 4 kilo baggage and other thing, he may request, could you just help me out in this respect? I will give you some 5-10 kilo items because it exceeds the maximum limit as fixed by the airways and all. Then innocently you just help him, and goods will be in your name, and you don't know whether it is narcotic drugs or psychotropics and all. There is no intention at all. Nevertheless, still you are liable. But however, under section 50, 51 of the Act, there are so many cases where Supreme Court says, especially under section 20 of the NDBS Act, does not include search and recovery from bag, briefcase and container, etc. That applies where personal search of a person is involved. There are some cases, Jarnail Singh versus State of Punjab, Mandal Lal versus State of Himachal Pradesh, State of Punjab. There are so many cases where Supreme Court said section 50 only applies in case of personal search, not extended to search of vehicle, container, bag and premises. Again, actually burden of duty lies upon the state, but when you want to say something in the sense, then you have to have an evidence to say whether you have done very intentionally or unintentionally, that is immaterial. So you should be very careful whenever. This is a small example I am telling. Sometimes, of course, there are so many cases. Of course, again, there are so many sections under Indian Evidence Act. Section 8 especially speaks about your conduct, previous conduct, character, matters, whether he is such type of person or not. Without any evidence, if there is no sufficient evidence, then definitely they cannot keep you. Otherwise, if there are some corroborative evidence, circumstantial evidence, where if things, for example, now you have been witnessing by actresses, actors, they have been prosecuting by state because they were involved in this drug activities, and they have been arresting drug peddlers and all. But evidence matters, and unfortunately, I have just discussed with some of the police officers. In many cases, they don't win in the case because when the police officer could not produce or could not done proper investigation, what is there in the legislation. That's why senior police officers always, they say it is a need of our to train the police officers how to conduct investigation and all. So for example, when they do some search and seizure, it has to be done in front of gazetted officers, and he has to be produced before nearest magistrate within 24 hours. There are so many guidelines are there under Article 22 of the Indian Constitution, arrest and detention. If a police officer fail to follow or comply with these directions and all, then again, it will be a great advantage for the accused to escape from the criminal responsibility. However, the procedure and other things we'll discuss in section 50 and 51, and how to seize, how to go for seizure and search, and how to get permission, which type of court is competent to deal all these things. Before that, I wanted to tell you what actually narcotic drugs means. Where under section 2 of the Act defines a narcotic drugs as coca leaf, cannabis, hemp, opium, poppy straw, and includes all manufactured goods. When it comes to narcotic drugs, as coca leaf, cannabis, the psychotropic substance concern, any substance, natural or synthetic, or any natural material, or any salt or preparation of such substance are material included in the list of psychotropic substance. And one more substance, controlled substance, means any substance with possible use in the production or manufacture of narcotic drugs or psychotropic substance, or to the provision of any international convention where they keep on adding so many substances, and that comes under psychotropic substance, that comes under controlled substance, that comes under narcotic drugs. Moment when Government of India, being a party to this convention, if they come to know different types of drugs, then definitely they will include all these drugs in the list of schedule, especially in the last part in the Act. There is a schedule, only one schedule they have, where in this Act, where they keep on including. Even I don't know, I'm not expert in technical type of this, whatever type of drugs are there and all. That's why it is a need of our. That's why I was telling, if police officers and doctors and other type of people are there, then it will be very clear. I can tell you these type of drugs. If a police officer conducts investigation where if he gets all these drugs, if you possess it, then what will be the procedure, which court, and what is the how to arrest, how to go through it, and all I can tell you. Other than that, I am not expert in that. But however, when it comes to, as I told you, there is an authority. Now I come to the very important part is offenses. You must know this. Unless you know this, I think sometime keeping, you may not be knowing, keeping some drugs, even you don't know whether they are drugs and all. But if somebody gives clue, or if somebody intimates police officer telling that this guy or this person possesses this type of drugs and all, if police officer comes and see, and if they go for search and seizure, then if they find all these drugs with you, then definitely they are going to arrest. So that is why you must aware about these type of drugs, these type of substances. Then it is your bounden duty as NSS volunteers. You must spread this information and message to all general public, neighbors, so that people, once if they come to know, then they will also be very due diligent, and they may start to do all these things. Otherwise, and forget about all the other the offense and other related issues, but it severely, badly affects our health. Once if you realize, if you go to hospital, if you see the patient, how they are screaming, and how they are feeling something which is very unusual, you never get into these type of minutes. Now I come to the point. Punishment varies according to the crime. For example, it depends upon small quantity, commercial quantity. For example, there are drugs. If you go through section 15 to 28, 30 and all, it speaks about contravention, using, manufacturing, or consumption, consuming and selling, purchasing and all are come under the purview of offense under this act. Especially when it comes to the drugs, especially drugs and psychotropic substance and narcotic drugs concern. As I told you, heroin, if you just have a small quantity like 5 milligram, opium 25 mg, morphine 5 mg, ganja 1000 mg, charas 100 mg, cocaine 100 mg, then methadone 2 mg. Then there are so many type of drugs are there. Maximum of 6 months rigorous punishment, or a fine up to rupees 10,000, or both. Either 6 months punishment, maximum 6 months means JMFC, Judicial Magistrate First Class. Of course, special court is constituted for this purpose. But if the offense, the term more than 3 years, especially up to you have a session court only single judge will be there, it is considered as a special court. But when it comes to the other type of punishment, I tell you, commercial quantity, it is for individual use. When it's for commercial quantity, means to sell or to transport or manufacture, like keeping in your possession more than 250 grams of heroin, opium 2.5 kilogram, morphine 250 gram, ganja 20 kg above, charas 1 kg, cocaine 100 grams, more than 100 grams, then methadone 50 grams. You know the punishment. There will be a rigorous punishment from 10 years to 20 years, even including death sentence, and a fine from rupees 1 lakh to 2 lakhs. session judge is considered as a special court under section 35, where he has a power. The session judge has power to, he has a competency to try this case, where he can just impose punishment based on the velocity of crime. Punishment for cultivation of any cannabis plant and also for coca plant and coca leaves is rigorous imprisonment up to 10 years and also fine up to 1 lakh rupees. Punishment for consumption of any narcotic drugs or psychotropic substance like cocaine, morphine, or any other narcotic drugs or any other psychotropic substance specified by the central government by gazette notification is rigorous imprisonment for a term up to 1 year or fine up to 20,000 rupees or both. Punishment for consumption of any narcotic drugs or psychotropic substance other than mentioned in is rigorous imprisonment for a term up to 6 months or fine up to 10,000 rupees or both. For second and each subsequent offense, punishment is rigorous imprisonment for it. For example, now already they have imposed 20 years punishment. After completion of 20 years, once again if he comes back, then again they can impose death sentence, or which may extend to one half of the maximum term of imprisonment, also fine up to one half of the maximum amount of fine. So once if you come to know all these important punishment clause, you never make an attempt to commit this type of crime. See, one thing I tell you, student life is golden life. Knowingly, unknowingly possesses some sort of drugs, it is an offense. Especially youth can play a significant role. You just Dr. Rajkumar, he made a movie, I don't know the name of the movie, where entire movie it is about the drugs, and especially NGO, youth, NSS volunteers, you all can do wonderful job. You can help police officers and you can inform police officers. Of course, sometimes disclosing your name if you are going to lodge a complaint and all, again, there may be a threat to your life and all, but you can, without mentioning your name and all, you can inform 100, calling to police officer, you can give clue, you can, of course, forget about prosecuting or punishing individual who is involving all these crimes. Ultimately, you as a youth must come forward to tell about the health consequences of using this narcotropic substance and narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. And when it comes to the powers as well as procedure for investigation of offense under this act, chapter 4A was introduced into the act in May 1989 to provide for investigation, freezing, seizure, forfeiture of property derived from or acquired through illicit trafficking in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. This chapter prohibits any person from holding any property derived from drugs trafficking and authorizes officers empowered under this act to investigate, identify, and seize such property. Chapter 6, under section 70, central government and state government should have regard to international convention while making rules. Whenever state government and central government, when they want to prepare rules and this act empowers the central and state government, central government to make some rules and regulations. When they want to make rules and regulations, they have to know about updates in the international convention. There will be some protocol and amendment to the existing international convention, whereby in international, because drug is not a small national issue, it is an international issue. So United Nations under some some institution preferably established for this purpose, they keep on doing research, they keep on adding so many type of drugs into the where in the list of schedule, where once that's what central government and state government from time to time they have to go through those type of list, and they should also include all this list in the schedule part by bringing an amendment to the act or by way of notification issuing in the official gazette. There are so many Supreme Court judgment. Of course, I don't want to bore you. Of course, I'm very sorry. I'm really violating your right to vote at the cost of my lecture, especially in the lunch hour, in the lunch session. I should not tell you so many things, but as a law faculty, as an NSS coordinator, it's my bound and duty to tell something. If it is useful to the general public, definitely the very object is going to be served. And keeping that in mind, you all can do wonderful activities, especially, of course, about punishment only, giving all these, of course, these acts and rules are available in the Google. Once if you Google it, you will come to know. Keeping that in mind, you can have a, quiz competition for individual type of drugs, because many students, they do not know what type of drugs and identification of drugs. Some leaves are there, which type, whether it is a ganja, cannabis, or heroin, or what type of, there are different modes are there. Many people do not know. You being a NSS volunteer, law students, what you can do wonder, you just go through, you conduct essay competition, you conduct quiz, and when through this type of competition and all, at least students will come to know, oh, these type of things are come under the purview of ganja, come under purview of drugs, psychotropic substances, these are the punishment, oh, wonderful. And they will, some extent, at least they will tell to their family members, friends, there will be discussion. Of course, say, I tell you, information matters. Without information, I think very difficult to regulate all these type of crimes. And more than that, I always tell parents, whenever I address parents, don't expect your child, your son or daughter should become doctor, judge, or advocate, or whatever it may be. That is a secondary object. The primary object of the parent is to make the children a responsible, qualified citizen of this great country. ಏನಾದರೂ ಆಗೋ ಮೊದಲು ಮಾನವನಾಗೋ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾವಂತ ನಾಗರಿಕನಾಗೋ. You should make, you should, of course, there are two types of, there are two parents. One is biological parents, another one is academic parents. Biological parents, their duty is to imbibe good values and culture in the family itself. And the role of academic parent is to motivate the student in such a way to participate in the democratic setup to help general public. See, ultimately we are all human beings. See, having so many, see, ultimately why you require so much of money, so much of property. Of course, see, even if you have 1,000 acres of land, even if you have luxurious cars and all, they are not the part of life. The part of life, enjoying, respecting human, respecting your neighbors, helping others, and bringing awareness about these social evils, that is the greatest service you can do. I keep on telling all students, anyone can destroy your body, not your achievements. ಈ ದೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಅಳಿವುಂಟು, ನೀ ಮಾಡಿದ ಸಾಧನೆಗೆ ಅಳಿವೇ ಇಲ್ಲವಯ್ಯ. ಬಸವಣ್ಣವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಉಳ್ಳವರು ಶಿವಾಲಯ ಮಾಡುವರು, ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡಲಿ ಬಡವನಯ್ಯ, ಎನ್ನೆ ಕಾಲೇ ಕಂಬ ದೇಹವೇ ದೇಗುಲ, ಶಿರವನ್ನ ಕಳಸವಯ್ಯ, ಕೂಡಲ ಸಂಗಮ ದೇವಯ್ಯ, ಸಾವಿರ ಕಳಿವುಂಟು ಜಂಗಮಕ್ಕೆ ಕಳಿವಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೊಂಥರ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ದೇವರು ಎಂದರೆ ಯಾರಯ್ಯ, ಹಸಿವಲ್ಲವೇ ದೇವರು, ಉಸಿರಲ್ಲವೇ ದೇವರು, ಗಾಳಿ ಬೆಳಕಲ್ಲವೇ ದೇವರು, ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಮುಗ್ಧತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿರಿಯರನ್ನ ಗೌರವಿಸುವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣುವುದಲ್ಲವೇ ದೇವರು. ಅದ ಬಿಟ್ಟು 108 ಬಗೆಯ ನೈವೇದ್ಯವ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ, ಹೂವ ದೀಪಗಳ ಹಚ್ಚಿ ವಿಜೃಂಭಿಸಿ, ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳ ಬಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಭಕ್ತಿ ತೋರುವ ಹುಂಬರಿಗೆ ದಾರಿ ತೋರಯ್ಯ, ಕೂಡಲ ಸಂಗಮ ದೇವ, ಈ ದೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಎಳಿವುಂಟು, ನೀ ಮಾಡಿದ ಸಾಧನೆಗೆ ಎಳಿವಿಲ್ಲವಯ್ಯ. See why Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Mahatma Gandhi, Swami Vivekananda, many are still alive. They are not dead. Why they are alive? Because they have contributed outstanding human service to this nation. Similar way, if youth like you do something to prevent this menace, then the very object is going to be served, especially conducting these type of programs will have a meaning, and no doubt it molds and regulates the some sort of behavior and conduct of an individual. So I'm very happy. Thanks for your patience hearing. I never again go and prolong my session. I again thank the organizer for giving me an opportunity to express my views on the role of youth in abolition of drug addiction and all. I have told maximum about your role, the role of law and health perspective. I told you, in all perspective I told you. My sincere appeal, see, when you start feeling worst type of pain, then you will come to know the importance of health. I always tell, if anyone wants to know the importance of freedom, they should be sent to the jail. If anyone wants to know the importance of freedom, they should be sent to the jail. Similarly, if anyone wants to know the importance of health, they should suffer. They should have an exorbitant pain. See, once if you go to the Nimans and cancer hospitals, you never indulge with all these activities. So that is why it is one kind of introspection. And I told you very clearly what are the other negative consequences by indulging with this very unfortunate menace. Please, my sincere appeal, help everyone. If you cannot help, don't harm anyone. So you please be helpful to your own family or members or neighbors. That is the greatest service. Keeping that in mind, again, I don't continue. Thank you for your patience here. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dr. Satish Gowda. It was a good, interesting, and informative talk. We have learned so much from you today. We didn't know anything about drugs. You have informed us very much. So you have also taught us about the role of youth, not only youth, but also institution and the family as a whole. What can it do to reduce the use of drug abuse? So we have also learned from you that realization, information, sensitization, and awareness could decrease the crime rate and also the drug abuse. So thank you, sir, for being with us. You have also remembered Rajkumar's movie, the Shabda Vedi movie, which showed the importance of how people can contribute in reducing the crime rate. You've also introduced us to the Basavana's quotes, and you have told that we have to inculcate good values from the beginning so that it can eventually lead into the good life ahead. Thank you very much. I indeed feel honored to invite Vinay Sir, IQAC coordinator, to talk and share his ideas and opinions with us now.
Thank you. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Satish Gowda and NSS Program Coordinator and Faculty of Law, Bangalore University. Dear sir, we are really encouraged by the words of inspiration. You have really wonderfully and efficiently have shared your thoughts to all of us, and you have given us the awareness of drug prevention, and you have given us the awareness of different legal provisions that govern the drug use. And I also thank you for giving us this call to introspect ourselves. Once again, on behalf of management at Christ Academy of Advanced Studies, teaching fraternity, and students, I would like to extend heartfelt thanks to you, sir. Thank you for speaking to us. It is said that if you can quit for a day, you can quit for a lifetime. You can't defeat the darkness by keeping it caged inside of you. Good afternoon, everyone. For some decades, now students have been given these lessons about drug prevention in schools and colleges in the belief that education about drugs can change their behavior. Some educators, however, question the goal of behavioral change and propose a more education-oriented approach to drug prevention. The goal of education system is not about repairing all social evils. It is about repairing one, the evil of ignorance. I repeat, the goal of education system is not about repairing all social evils. It is about repairing one, the evil of ignorance. We all have responsibilities as adults for these evils, especially removing this ignorance. No doubt, prevention is better than cure. That is why we are emphasizing on the lives and futures of the next generation. For many young people today, the word prevention is complicated. Some might think that prevention doesn't affect them, and some might not think about it at all. However, most youth, probably more than even they are aware of, are actively working to prevent the initiation of substance abuse on both the individual and peer level. The reality is, youth cannot always see prevention at work, not because it is too small to make enough of a difference, because it is so big and deeply rooted in their lives that they are part of it. Also, I was recently reading a research which suggests that early to late adolescence is a critical risk period for the initiation of substance abuse. To grow healthy and safe life for young people, it is necessary to break the chain of the social, neurological, and psychological factors, and also inequalities that can increase susceptibility to drug use disorders. At this juncture, I would like to congratulate and appreciate our NSS team at Kayas, led by Dr. Raju, for taking this initiative to create awareness on drug prevention. And I also would like to thank once again Dr. Satish Gowda and NSS Program Coordinator and Faculty of Law, Bangalore University, for readily accepting our invitation to talk in this webinar. Once again, on behalf of management, faculty members and students, we extend you a heartfelt thanks, sir, for being part of this webinar. So with these few words, I would like to end my talk. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa, for those wonderful words coming from you. You have told us that prevention is better than cure. We will all together as a whole try to control the abolition of drug abuse. Thank you, sir. As we have come to the end of today's session, I now request Dr. Raju N., Head of the Language Department, Christ Academy Institute for Advanced Studies, to deliver the oath of thanks.
And please convey my best wishes to Reverend Father Anton.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you.
ನನಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಒಂದು ಒಂದನೇ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಖುಷಿಯ ವಿಚಾರ, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಂತೋಷದ ವಿಚಾರ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ನನಗೆ NSSನ ಒಬ್ಬ ಕ್ರಿಯಾತ್ಮಕವಾದಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕರೆಸಿ ಆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸೋದು ಅಂದರೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಂಭ್ರಮದ ವಿಚಾರ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವ ಹಾಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು IPS ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ರವಿ ಚಂದಣ್ಣನವರು ಬರಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಆದರೆ ಅವರು ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಧೀಕ್ಷಕರಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವರು ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಬೇರೊಂದು ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವರು ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಾರ್ ನಾನು ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಈಗ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ನಾನು ತಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳನ್ನು ಭೇಟಿಯಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಭಾವನೆಗಳನ್ನು ನನ್ನ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷಣೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸತೀಶ್ ಗೌಡ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ NSS ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಹಿತೈಷಿಯಾಗಿ, ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬಲ್ಲಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ, ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಚೈತನ್ಯದ ಚಿಲುಮೆಯಾಗಿ ಇರುವಂಥವರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸತೀಶ್ ಗೌಡ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಏನೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ NSS ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಂಥ ಅವಧಿ ಭಾಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು, ಅವರು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಷಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಾಗೆ ಯೋಚಿಸಿದಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಗಮನಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೋದರೆ ನಿಜಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಅಲ್ಪ ಕಾಲಾವಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಸತ್ಯ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನಾನು ಸತೀಶ್ ಗೌಡ್ರು ಸರ್ರನ್ನು ಕಂಡಾಗ, ಅವರ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಾನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅವರೊಬ್ಬ ಶಕ್ತಿ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥವರು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಯಾವ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮವಾದಂಥ ಜ್ವಲಂತ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಯಾಗಿ ನಿಲ್ಲಬಲ್ಲಂಥವ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಗುರುಗಳು, ನನ್ನ ಸರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸತೀಶ್ ಗೌಡ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾಳ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಭಗವಂತ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥವನು ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ಉತ್ತೇಜಿಸುವ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶವನ್ನು ಕರುಣಿಸ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಭಗವಂತನ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಯುವಕರ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಮೈಯನ್ನ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಈ ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ಮಾಫಿಯಾ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೋ, ಸರಿ ಹೇಳ್ದಾಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದೋ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅಪರಾಧ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ದೇಶದ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ನಿಂತಿರೋದು ಯುವ ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಮೇಲೆ. ಯುವ ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಯಾವಾಗ ಹಾಳಾಗುತ್ತೋ ದೇಶದ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಹಾಳಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ದೇಶವನ್ನ ಕಟ್ಟಬಲ್ಲಂತ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇರುವಂಥವ್ರು ಯುವ ಸಮುದಾಯ ಕುತೂಹಲಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೈಯನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂತ ದುರ್ನಡತೆಗೆ, ಅಂತ ದುರಂತಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಹೆತ್ತಂಥವರಿಗೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಪೋಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಸಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೋ, ಯಾರು ಸಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೋ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ದುರಂತವನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅನೇಕ ರೀತಿ, ಯಾಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಅಪರಾಧಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕಾನೂನುಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಂಚೋದು ಬೇಡ, ನಮಗೆ ನಾವು ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಎತ್ತಂಥವರು, ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಸಾಕಿ ಸಲುತ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥ ಸಮಾಜ ಎಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಿರೀಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸಾಕಾದಷ್ಟನ್ನೇ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷಣೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಹುಸಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಅಪಚಾರ, ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಏನು ಅದು ಅಂದರೆ ದುರಂತ. ನಾವು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸರಿ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಮಹಾಪುರುಷರಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಅವರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಶಕ್ತಿಗಳಾಗಿ, ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವಗಳಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಮುಂದೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೂಲ ಕಾರಣ ಅವರು ರೂಪಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಂಥ ಅವರ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ. ಯಾವುದೇ ದುರ್ನಡತೆಗೆ, ಯಾವುದೇ ದುಶ್ಚಟಗಳಿಗೆ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಒಡ್ಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳದೆ ಶುಭ್ರವಾದಂಥ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ, ಶಕ್ತಿಯುತವಾದಂಥ ದೇಹವನ್ನ ಕಾಪಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದಲೇ ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಭಾರತದ ಇತಿಹಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ರಪಂಚದ ಇತಿಹಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂಥ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಬಹಳ ಅರ್ಥಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸತೀಶ್ ಗೌಡ್ರ ಸರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ವಂದನೆ, ಅಭಿನಂದನೆ. ಕ್ರೈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಅವರನ್ನು ಅಭಿನಂದಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು NSS ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಸತತವಾದಂಥ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಹಕಾರವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಸಹಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಚಿರಋಣಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತೇವೆ. ಕ್ರೈಸ್ಟ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿ ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ತಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶವನ್ನು ನಮಗೆ ಒದಗಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಂಥ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ನನ್ನ ವಂದನೆ, ಅಭಿನಂದನೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಿನಯ್ ಸರ್ ಕೂಡ ತಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಮಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು, ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಫಾದರ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥವ್ರು ಈಗ CMI ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ ಕೇರಳದಲ್ಲಿ, ಅವರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹೋಗುವಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸತೀಶ್ ಗೌಡ್ರು ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ನನ್ನ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಯೂಸನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ CMI ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ವಿಶ್ವ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ, ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯನ್ನು ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಈ ದೈಹಿಕ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಆರೋಗ್ಯವನ್ನು ಕಾಪಾಡಬಲ್ಲಂತ ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ನಾನು ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಂದ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಥಪೂರ್ಣ ಇದೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ದಿನ ಸಾರ್ಥಕ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ನಾನು ಸರ್ರನ್ನು ಕರೆಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಹೋದ್ಯೋಗಿಗಳು, ನಮ್ಮ NSS ಏನು ಕಮಿಟಿ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಉಳಿದಂಥ ಕೊಲೀಗ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ NSS ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್, ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥವ್ರು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಡ್ರಗ್ಸನ್ನು ಯಾವುದೇ ರೂಪ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಯಾವ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲೂ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನನಗೆ ಭರವಸೆ ಇದೆ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯ ಆರೋಗ್ಯವನ್ನು ಕಾಪಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಯಶಸ್ವಿ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣೀಕರ್ತರಾಗಿರುವಂಥವ್ರು ನನ್ನ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಶ್ರೀಲೇಖ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕವನ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಕೊಲೀಗ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ NSS ಕಮಿಟಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಾಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಮೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಉತ್ತೇಜಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ನೀಡಿರುವಂಥ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸದ, ಅವರು ನೀಡಿರುವಂಥ ನೀತಿಯ ಕೆಲವು ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನಾದರೂ ತಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ ಆದರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ ನೀಡಿರುವಂಥ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾರ್ಥಕ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಭಾವನೆಯನ್ನು ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜೈ ಕನ್ನಡಾಂಬೆ, ಜೈ ಜಗದಾಂಬೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.